If decluttering feels uncomfortable or even discouraging right now, you're not failing, you're standing in the exact place where it looks worse before it finally feels better. This is the part no one talks about. The part where you pause, look around, and quietly wonder if you should have just left things alone. Many seniors begin decluttering with the hope of instant calm. You imagine clearer surfaces, easier mornings, and a home that finally feels peaceful again. Instead, what shows up first is stress. Drawers emptied onto beds. Closets half undone. Rooms that feel louder, not lighter. And for a moment, regret creeps in. You think, I've made things worse. But here's the truth most advice skips over. That uneasy feeling isn't a warning sign. It's a phase. It's the uncomfortable middle between how things were and how they are about to become. Decluttering doesn't fall apart, it opens up. And opening up always feels messy before it settles. That's exactly what happened to someone I want you to meet. Her name is Maribel Knoxfield. She's 68, a retired hospital scheduler living in Arizona, and she's been in the same home for decades. This house saw long workdays, family gatherings, routines built over years. When Maribel finally decided to declutter, it wasn't about minimalism or trends. It was about wanting a little breathing room. A little ease. A home that felt supportive again. But just a few hours in, surrounded by piles she hadn't seen in years, Maribel nearly quit. Not because she was lazy. Not because she didn't want change. But because, in that moment, everything felt worse. And that moment, right there, is where most people stop. Maribel's experience shows the 5 ways decluttering almost always looks worse before it finally feels better. 1. Everything looks messier because everything is finally visible. When you start decluttering, the first thing you notice is that everything suddenly looks worse. You open a drawer, expecting just a few things to sort through, and somehow that drawer multiplies into piles on the bed, the couch, and even the floor. That small corner of clutter you barely noticed for years suddenly fills the room, and your eyes dart back and forth, trying to take it all in. It feels overwhelming, almost like the clutter is fighting back, reminding you that you can't just erase decades of accumulation with a few hours of effort. This is exactly what makes the first stage of decluttering so tricky. Hidden clutter becomes visible. What once might have felt manageable now feels chaotic. Colors, textures, and patterns that blend into the background when items are tucked away now scream for attention when they are out in the open. That bed full of unfolded clothes, that stack of old books and papers, even those little knickknacks that once seemed harmless, suddenly they all demand a decision. And the truth is, the mess you see isn't just clutter, it's memory, it's history, it's pieces of your life you haven't faced in years. Maribel Knoxfield, 68, knows this feeling all too well. She emptied just one drawer in her kitchen, expecting to find a few stray items she could toss or organize quickly. Instead, she ended up with a bed covered in a sprawling assortment of utensils, recipe cards, old gadgets she didn't even recognize, and a few sentimental items she couldn't bring herself to throw away. She paused, feeling that familiar wave of overwhelm, and wondered if decluttering was worth it at all. And yet, what she didn't know at that moment was that seeing all of it together was the first step toward real clarity. Visual overload is more draining after 60. Your eyes take in more information at once, your mind processes decisions more slowly, and the fatigue that comes with long periods of standing, bending, or lifting makes the piles seem even larger than they really are. This is why it's important to work in small sections. Choose one drawer, one shelf, or one corner at a time. Stand back after each step, even if the space looks worse than before. The discomfort is temporary, but it signals progress. Emotional reassurance is key in this stage. That mess doesn't mean you're failing. In fact, it means the clutter is no longer hiding. It means nothing is being avoided anymore. Each item pulled out is a small victory, a tangible step toward regaining control over your home. Maribel learned to tell herself, "This mess is proof I'm finally facing my space, not hiding from it." That mindset shift alone transforms the experience from discouraging to empowering. Actionable advice to make this stage manageable. 1. Work in microsections. Tackle a single drawer or surface at a time. Seeing progress in small areas reduces overwhelm. 2. Use temporary storage. Place items on a table or bed to sort, but label zones for keep, donate, or discard. 3. Take breaks frequently. Your energy and patience matter more than speed. A few minutes to sit, breathe, or even have a cup of tea can reset your mind. 4. Engage memory gently. Keep a small notebook nearby to jot down memories tied to items instead of trying to resolve everything at once. Remember, the mess is temporary, but clarity comes from seeing it all. That sense of chaos is not your enemy. It's the stage that must happen before it finally feels clearer. Did your space look worse when you first started? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could encourage someone else who's facing the same overwhelming moment. 2. It feels like you're losing control before you regain it. Once you've pulled things out of hiding, you enter the stage that feels the most unsettling. Nothing seems finished. Drawers are empty, but piles have multiplied on the floor. Shelves that once felt orderly now appear chaotic, and it seems like every corner of your home is rebelling against your efforts. It's easy to look around and think, I've made a mistake, or even, maybe I should just stop. This is the point where many people quit, but it's exactly the phase you have to push through, because control always comes back before it finally feels steady again. Maribel Knoxfield knows this feeling well. She was sorting her living room and realized that she had spent an hour moving items from one surface to another, with no real progress to show. The stacks of books and mementos had grown taller, and the temporary piles were beginning to feel permanent. She paused, hands on her hips, questioning whether all this effort was worth it. Her mind whispered, "Why am I doing this? It feels worse than before." This is the disorienting reality of the middle stage. Your home is in transition, and your brain craves completion, order, and control. Many of us were raised to value order and completion. A tidy home meant responsibility and respectability. Unfinished work, even in a small corner of your home, can trigger a feeling of guilt or failure. But here's the secret: temporary disorder is the cost of lasting ease. The chaos you see right now is proof that change is happening. Your brain is struggling to reconcile the past version of your home with the new one you're creating, and that struggle is normal. One way to navigate this stage is to set very small, achievable goals. Instead of tackling the entire living room, focus on a single bookshelf or one drawer. Celebrate completion in microsections. This gives your brain the satisfaction of finishing something while keeping the momentum going. Another approach is time boxing. Allow yourself 20 to 30 minutes to declutter a section, then take a deliberate break. By pacing yourself, the middle stage becomes less overwhelming, and the sense of losing control is softened. Maribel also found it helpful to label temporary zones. She used boxes or baskets for items to keep, donate, or recycle, making decisions visible and concrete. Seeing the piles organized by purpose reduced her anxiety. She also learned to accept imperfection, that the space would not look neat until she reached the final stages. This mental shift is critical. Progress does not require perfection at every moment. Another tool is reflective journaling. Take a notebook and jot down your feelings about the items you encounter. Why did I hold on to this? What memory does it bring? This transforms the sense of losing control into a conscious reflection, giving your mind a sense of ownership over the process rather than feeling hijacked by chaos. Even simple actions like changing posture can help. Standing up, stretching, or walking around the room after moving items can reset your mind. Physical movement can bring calm and renewed focus, reducing the feeling that the home is slipping out of your control. The emotional payoff comes slowly. As Maribel persisted, she began to notice subtle shifts. Pathways opened, surfaces became functional again, and she started to feel a quiet sense of order emerging from the chaos. These wins are small, but cumulative. The middle stage will feel like losing control, but each decision, each item moved, each microgoal completed is a step toward regaining stability. Remember, this is temporary. That unsettled feeling is not a sign of failure. It's the bridge between the old cluttered version of your home and the new, calmer, more functional version. It must happen before it finally feels steady again. Did the halfway point make you want to stop? Share your experience in the comments. Your insight could encourage someone facing this stage. 3. Old items stir emotions you didn't expect. Once you start sorting through drawers, closets, and shelves, you quickly realize decluttering isn't just about removing objects, it's about confronting pieces of your past. Items we've held onto for decades carry more than dust. They carry identity, memory, and emotion. After 60, these attachments feel especially strong. A single object can transport you back to a birthday, a family trip, or a milestone at work. And when these memories surface unexpectedly, the process can feel overwhelming, confusing, or even painful. This is the stage where decluttering feels emotionally heavier than physically taxing, and it must happen before it finally feels healing. Maribel Knoxfield experienced this vividly. While clearing her home office, she came across stacks of old work papers, letters from colleagues, and envelopes with notes she had long forgotten. Some letters were filled with praise and gratitude, reminding her of her accomplishments. Others were gentle critiques or reminders of deadlines she had struggled to meet. As she held each piece, Maribel felt a swirl of pride, nostalgia, and a quiet ache for days gone by. At one moment, she even found a photograph of herself leading a hospital team, a reminder of her professional identity and sense of purpose. In that moment, deciding what to keep or let go felt nearly impossible. This is a universal truth for seniors. Letting go of old items can feel like letting go of a piece of yourself. Your home holds decades of your life, and each object represents stories, achievements, relationships, or phases you've lived through. When you start decluttering, these objects demand attention not just because they exist physically, but because they exist emotionally. You might find yourself hesitating over a birthday card, a report, or even a teacup you bought on a memorable trip, wondering if discarding it diminishes your life experience. One way to navigate this emotional stage is to acknowledge the feelings without judgment. Recognize that sadness, nostalgia, or even guilt are natural responses. These emotions indicate that your life has been rich and full. They don't mean you're failing to declutter, they mean you're processing memories in a meaningful way. Another helpful strategy is memory mapping. Keep a small notebook nearby, and jot down a brief note about the significance of an item before deciding to donate, recycle, or store it. For instance, a letter might be noted as "reminds me of my first promotion," or a work report as "my dedication to patients." This allows you to preserve the emotional value without holding onto the physical object indefinitely. You can also create a keepsake box. Rather than saving every item, select a small, meaningful number of objects that truly capture your personal history. Maribel kept a few letters, one photo, and a small memento from her first hospital project. The rest she donated or recycled, and surprisingly, letting go didn't erase her memories, it lightened her space and her mind. Physical pacing can help manage emotional intensity. Step away, stretch, or take short walks to avoid becoming overwhelmed. Even brief breaks allow emotions to settle and help you return with a clearer perspective. Through this stage, Maribel realized that her life story wasn't stored in objects, it was stored in her mind, in her memories, and in the people she had touched. She learned to honor the past while letting her home become a space that supported her present life. Remember, this stage is about feeling the emotions fully before the relief of clarity arrives. Facing these feelings is an essential bridge to a home that feels lighter, calmer, and more supportive, a space that finally feels healing. Which items are hardest for you to face? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story could help someone else navigate these emotional moments with courage and confidence. 4. Feeling lighter can bring unexpected guilt. There's a surprising stage in decluttering that catches many seniors off guard. The moment when relief arrives, and it feels strange. After hours or days of sorting, moving, and letting go, your home begins to breathe. Surfaces are clear, pathways are open, and tasks that once felt daunting suddenly feel manageable. Mornings are easier. You can find what you need without digging through piles. Yet, instead of feeling pure joy, you may notice a twinge of unease. This is the stage where relief shows up before it finally feels acceptable, and it's completely normal. Maribel Knoxfield experienced this in her own home. After clearing her living room and organizing her kitchen, she paused to take in the change. Her home felt lighter, more open, almost inviting in a way it hadn't for years. She expected to feel exhilarated. Instead, she felt uneasy. A quiet voice in her mind whispered, I don't deserve this. Did I do something wrong by letting go? That fleeting guilt, though subtle, can be surprisingly powerful, especially for seniors. Many of us were raised to believe that rest, comfort, or ease must be earned. Years of teaching ourselves to prioritize duty, family, and work over personal ease create a subconscious tension when we finally give ourselves permission to enjoy simplicity. Suddenly, the calm in your home feels unfamiliar, almost suspicious. Am I being lazy? Or am I selfish for enjoying this? Are thoughts that can creep in at this stage. The key is to recognize that peace doesn't require justification. The lighter, calmer environment isn't a reward you need to earn. It's the natural result of the effort you've put into creating a space that serves you. Maribel reminded herself that the relief she felt was the positive outcome of her hard work. Feeling better wasn't indulgent. It was a sign that her home was finally aligning with her needs, not her clutter. One strategy to ease this unexpected guilt is mindful reflection. Take a few moments each day to consciously notice the difference. Walk into a newly cleared room, sit quietly, and acknowledge what has changed. Say to yourself, I have created space that makes my life easier, and that is okay. This helps reframe the discomfort from guilt to gratitude. Another tactic is gradual adaptation. Instead of decluttering every room at once, tackle one space at a time. This allows your mind and emotions to adjust to each improvement, minimizing the sudden sense of unease that can arise when multiple areas transform simultaneously. Maribel noticed that pacing herself helped her settle into the changes naturally, without overwhelming guilt. Physical cues can also reinforce emotional acceptance. Open a window, let sunlight fill the room, or light a favorite candle. Engage your senses to anchor the feeling of relief in something tangible. This sensory reinforcement reminds your mind that calm and comfort are valid, safe, and deserved. Finally, consider sharing the experience with someone you trust. Talking about the process, the changes, and even the strange mix of relief and guilt can help normalize the feelings. Many seniors realize that the discomfort is temporary, and others' validation helps accelerate acceptance. Through this stage, Maribel learned that lighter mornings, cleaner surfaces, and clearer spaces are signs of progress, not guilt. She discovered that the unease she felt was simply her mind adjusting to a home that finally worked for her instead of against her. Remember, this stage is about letting relief arrive fully, even if it initially feels unfamiliar. It must happen before it finally feels acceptable, and embracing it is essential to experiencing lasting peace. Did feeling better ever make you feel uneasy? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else realize that this unusual discomfort is a natural and necessary step toward a lighter, calmer home. 5. The space feels unfamiliar before it feels like home again. Even when decluttering is going well, there's a surprising stage where your improved space can feel wrong. Rooms that were once cluttered, crowded, or chaotic now appear open, bare, or oddly empty. The couch isn't covered in stacks of papers, the shelves aren't overflowing, and pathways are clear. Instead of feeling comfortable, your home may feel unfamiliar. This stage is a normal, temporary phase that must happen before it finally feels better, and understanding it is key to maintaining confidence in your decluttering journey. Maribel Knoxfield experienced this firsthand. After weeks of work, she walked into her living room, expecting relief. Instead, she felt a flicker of uncertainty. The space she had cleared looked different, almost foreign. Chairs seemed too far apart, familiar corners no longer held their usual piles, and she hesitated to sit or move about the room. She realized that even improvement can feel disorienting, and brief discomfort doesn't mean she had made a mistake. This reaction happens because long-term memory is tied to visual landmarks. Over decades, we become accustomed to a home shaped not just by furniture, but by the presence of objects, piles of books, decorative items, letters, and photographs. When these markers are removed or repositioned, the brain initially perceives the space as unfamiliar. That sense of unfamiliarity can trigger subtle unease, making it feel like the home has changed in ways that aren't entirely comforting. The key is to recognize that this isn't regret, it's adjustment. Your mind and emotions need time to recalibrate. Maribel approached each room mindfully, taking slow walks through the spaces she had decluttered, noticing clarity and openness without rushing to fill it back up. She reminded herself that the calm and functionality of her home were intentional improvements, not signs of something missing. One strategy is gradual personalization. You don't have to reintroduce clutter, but small touches like a favorite photo, a cherished plant, or a comfortable throw can anchor the room emotionally without undoing your progress. These markers help the brain accept and adapt to the changes, turning the unfamiliar into familiar again. Another approach is habit reinforcement. Begin using the newly cleared spaces intentionally. Sit in the chair that now has room around it, use the countertop that was previously buried, or walk the open pathways mindfully. Engaging with the space helps retrain your brain to associate the decluttered environment with comfort and usability. Maribel also practiced reflective journaling. She noted her feelings about each room, what felt different, what felt empty, and which areas brought relief versus hesitation. Over time, the once unfamiliar spaces started to feel intuitive, functional, and truly welcoming. For those anxious about too much emptiness, incremental adjustment works well. Place one small decorative or functional item at a time. Avoid reintroducing clutter. Instead, choose objects that enhance comfort and joy. This allows the home to feel personalized without returning to old habits. Emotionally, it's important to acknowledge the brief discomfort and separate it from fear or failure. Feeling unsure in the new space is natural. That adjustment period is temporary, and once your brain recalibrates, the home will feel not just different, but better, lighter, calmer, and more aligned with your life today. Remember, this stage is a bridge between the chaos of clutter and the peace of a truly functional home. Move through it patiently, knowing that what feels unfamiliar now will soon feel comforting. This phase must happen before it finally feels better, and embracing it ensures your home becomes a space you love to live in again. Did your home feel strange after decluttering? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could help someone else navigate the unfamiliarity with confidence. Decluttering is a journey, and it almost always looks worse before it finally feels better. The mistake many seniors make is stopping in the middle, thinking the chaos or discomfort means failure. But in reality, that worst stage is a signal you're on the path to lasting ease. Maribel Knoxfield's experience shows this vividly. A few days after tackling her home, she noticed calmer mornings. She moved through her kitchen without bumping into piles, found what she needed quickly, and felt less tension in her shoulders. The rooms that once felt chaotic now allowed space for clarity and peace. That moment of transformation confirmed a simple truth: the discomfort was temporary, but the ease lasts. The key takeaway is simple: what feels worse today is the foundation for what will feel better tomorrow. That unease, frustration, or uncertainty is part of the process. It's the bridge between old habits and a home that truly supports you. Maribel learned that patience and persistence during the messy stage weren't signs of failure but stepping stones toward a calmer, more functional life. If things feel worse right now, remember, you're closer than you think. Each small decision to let go, sort, or organize moves you toward freedom. The clutter and the chaos are only temporary, but the clarity and peace you create can last for years. Now, let's make sure your voice rises and helps others in the community. Supporting this channel amplifies the voices of seniors everywhere. Here's how to hype this video. 1. On your YouTube app, scroll left on the comment preview carousel until you see the hype button. 2. Tap hype. 3. Choose how many points you want to give. Smaller creators get a bigger boost. 4. Confirm, and you're done. You get 3 free hypes each week, and every hype pushes this video higher so more seniors can discover these tips. While you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss practical advice that makes your home and life easier. Remember, every messy stage has a purpose. Tap hype, like, subscribe, because the mess is temporary, but the peace is permanent.